Welcome to my channel. If you are here, you are interested a little bit to know about API testing. So we'll be seeing in this course like API testing with SOAPUI. We'll be see the theoretical part first. Like we discuss what is API, how API work, different architecture of APIs. We'll talk a little bit about SOAPUI and we'll tell you where to get it and what version we'll be using in this course. Now, let's discuss what is the API. Okay, API are application programming interface. They are middleware or intermediate software between the application, like client side, and the database or the server. The idea here is like you'll be using the API to get the request from the client side and reply to it. So it's used very often, and it's everywhere around us. It's used because of security reasons, because of ease of use, and so on. There are many reasons to use APIs, and let's see how does it work. Now, how does it work? We'll be seeing this is from the client side, like from your side, like you have your mobile phone, your laptop, or whatever. Now, let's say our example, if you want to get the weather. Now, what happened is like you will be asking for the information, you will like connection to the server, asking for the information. The API will be collection that your request, collecting the information from the database, then sending you back the information. So you send your information, the API get the information, and after that reply to you. This is simplified way on how API works. Just give you an idea and general idea how APIs work and where they are in the act of collection data in our example for weather application. Now, different architecture of APIs. The first one is REST, and this is the most used one nowadays. It's the most used one. REST is an acronym for RESTful APIs, and it uses resources that are accessible via endpoints, and it's heavily based on HTTP requests method, which are get, post, put, and delete. They are the most used one. There are other ones, but mostly this is the ones that we will be interacting with while using REST APIs. Now here what I'm showing here is a response to a request, to API request. This response, as you can see here, is in JSON format. For people that don't know, like when using REST API, we use heavily JSON format because it's lightweight and it's we can share data rapidly that way. Other architecture use other formats. But while using REST, this is the format that you have to be familiar with. It's a simple format to use, and we'll be seeing a lot of examples when we do the video of examples. Now, the SOAP APIs, which stands for Simple Object Access Protocol, it uses heavily XML. It relies heavily on XML to transfer data between the server and the client. It is still used in some legacy systems and in some enterprise environment when we need more security, and when we need more security then like it has more security features than REST APIs, and because of that, like it's a little bit or more slower than other APIs architecture. So the SOAP API, we use it in environment that we need security, but where the response, when the response is slow, it does not matter that much. Now here, like this is taken from SOAPUI, actually, from the documentation of SOAPUI, and you can see here the sample like service with that. Like we use heavily XML, which is also a simple format that we'll be seeing also when we do the examples. When we do examples, we'll be mostly seeing REST APIs, then some example on SOAP APIs. And it's a simple format that is also extensively used, but much like we use more in APIs nowadays. We use more JSON format than XML format because we use more REST API than SOAP API nowadays. Now, for GraphQL, it's an open source query language, and the idea here is like we have a single API endpoint that retrieve the exact data that you need. The philosophy is we want to have as little as possible of requests between the client and the server. So we ask for something and we give that something, and that's it. We don't want like many chain requests. And if I give an example, like I work like as a test specialist API and nowadays, and for example, like in telecommunication, like when you want to like buy a phone, we have software that talk with our APIs, like because I am in backend, talk with our APIs, and just for buying a phone, like we will have like 8 to 13 call of APIs on different APIs for different information, and it depends on a lot of things, like if you are already a client, if you are a new client, and there is a lot of things that we have information we have to retrieve for payment, your address, and so on. And that's when you are in like the store and you want to buy the phone, no, there is a person that fills that information for you in the computer and stuff, or you are in digital, you are at home and you use the website to buy that information. Like there are many APIs that are used that you don't see you don't see because you are in the graphical interface, and you don't see all the calls that are happening after you click on something or not. Now here is like an example of GraphQL. I just took it from the documentation of GraphQL. This is a response of GraphQL. As you can see, it's simple, easy, and it uses also JSON format for that. Now, Webhook is a little bit different because it implements event-driven architecture. The idea here, like we don't send requests until an event is happening. Let's take an example. For example, you log into your Facebook. The login is the event. Then we have a predefined, pre-configured webhook URL that we will contacting for the request payload. Then and after that, there will be the action. Then the confirmed action that will be sent back to us. And here, if I go for example that I mentioned here, like for payment, the user do his payment. The event is the payment. Then the pre-configured webhook, like we contact the pre-configured webhook URL, then they do the action, then they will send us a confirmation that whatever we did is okay. The confirmation action complete. These are not all the different architecture that we can that they exist, but most of them are here, and they are the most used one on the web. Now, SOAPUI. What is SOAPUI? SOAPUI is a software that specializes in testing API. Like it's an SOAPUI it's not a new software. It's a software that exists a long time ago. There is other software also to test API. For example, Postman, Hopscotch, Hurl. You can do also testing of your APIs using Python and so on. There is a lot of software to test APIs, but one of the most extensively used are SOAPUI and Postman. These are the ones that are more used in the professional world. So we'll be talking about SOAPUI. The difference between the two, just for your knowledge, the difference between the two, like in Postman we use JavaScript, if I'm not mistaken, it's JavaScript to do the testing. So you actually write some code. In SOAPUI you don't need to write code to do the testing. They are what we call assertion, but we will be seeing that in due time. And if you are interested in Postman, I can do also videos on Postman. Now, SOAPUI. Using SOAPUI, we can test SOAP and the REST APIs, both of them. So it will be good for us. We do an example in both of them, and it has a lot of functionality like simulation and mocking services, functional testing, load testing, compliance testing, a lot of functionality. The version we'll be using, like, it's the SOAPUI open source, not the open source, because there is a lot of version, another version that this is the pro version or the paid version, which is called Ready API. But the SOAPUI open source version, it's enough for us. It's enough for us, and it will give us all the tools that we need to understand APIs, to do the testing and stuff. We don't need to pay for the Ready API for our purposes, for learning. And with the knowledge you will acquiring, you can use that knowledge to use the API. It has more functionality to help you or facilitate some things, but most of the things, the basic things, and for understanding, you'll be having them here. This is the interface of SOAPUI. Like in the next video, we'll be like SOAPUI and starting to do some actually testing and using some APIs. But just for people who are curious, this is the interface of SOAPUI, and you can see it's a simple interface. It's a simple interface, but it has a lot of benefit. So we see that in other videos. Now, what you get SOAPUI and which version? Okay, this course will be based on the 5.7.1 of the open source SOAPUI, because it's the one that is the latest version now. So if you see the video later on, and maybe there is more feature in the open source version, just know that we did it in this version, so that's why we don't talk about those features. Now, for people who use Windows, this is the link. The link is here. SOAPUI.org tool SOAPUI. So we can just Google, like, you just go to the website SOAPUI.org, and you'll be having a download tab. You click the download tab, and you can come here and check the SOAPUI open source. I will not be showing you because I will be using Linux while doing these videos. For people who use Linux, I will not be showing you such installation, for the simple reason that it differs a little bit from this distribution to other distribution. Like getting it for Debian is not the same as getting it Fedora or whatever. So the installation is simple. Like for people on Windows, this is like next, and that's it. You can keep all the defaults, all the default things you can keep. It does not matter that much. In Linux also, it's a little bit simpler, and people that use Linux can go and get SOAPUI depending on their distribution. Now, just like this is the version we'll be using, just insist on that because just I will give you an example. In the version 4.6, we were using this 4.6, like professional version of 4.6. Everything was in XML. There was no JSON assertion. Now, for example, in the 5 version of SOAPUI, there is assertion for JSON. So like it's a living thing. SOAPUI, it's a living thing, and there is a lot of features that's added. And I cannot know all of them because it's changing all of the time, and not necessarily be using all of them. But we will try to give you all the information and all the knowledge, so that you can go to any professional work and start testing APIs and using SOAPUI without any problem, and you can do all your work. Thank you, and see you in the next video.